This scene was great. I really enjoyed working on this scene. I got a chance to finish up the mission that I just thought was so cool, where you're chasing around the dinosaurs. And Errol, this is the first glimpse you get of Errol, Cyber Errol, reconstructed Errol, and I just thought his character was so cool that had a good time animating him. The one thing I remember at the scene is I had to turn it around in, I think, about 3 or 4 days because we had to get it done for E3. So I'm pretty pleased with the way it turned out, all things given, time restrictions and all.
Come on, Bigfoot, let's get back. This desert gives me the creeps.
So this is about the funniest scene I got to work on. It was a lot of fun just with Dax and Pecker jabbing back and forth and try to get as much personality and comedy into it. The little rivalry has been going on since Jak 2, so this was just another chance to kind of keep it going and have fun. With all the serious scenes I got to work on, this was nice to have just a little lighter moment. And then with an off-screen gesture that really gets Pecker going. And then we get to go into a little of the softer side again with Damus and his furthering relationship with Jak. So this was just an overall fun scene to do. And we go on to the next scene.
This scene is leading Jak out into sort of an adventure to go catch some lizards. One of the things that's really interesting about cinematics in video games is really they have to do triple duty. We have, obviously, first and foremost, we want to entertain. We want people to be excited by what they're watching, and it should be funny if we can help ourselves. But also, we want to move the plot forward, so it has to have some reasonably expository stuff telling the player how this the story is moving, the arc is moving. But third and foremost, and obviously probably the most important, is we want to tell the player what to do. So basically, in a very short amount of time, we're trying to do quite a bit of stuff to make the scenes actually work as we write them and as we record them and of course animate them, trying to emphasize important pieces. So this is an example of him being sent out, and it goes through a whole sequence. And this is where Deimos for the first time is really kind of reacting to Jak as a father in the sense. He's almost like trying to take him under his wing. There are some strong paternal instincts going on here, and it's very new to Jak, something he hasn't felt before. So.
This scene wasn't originally supposed to be in the game, but focus testers actually, when they first went into this room, were not clear as to where they were supposed to go, so we added this little camera move showing you where you're supposed to go.
This scene takes place once you get to the top of the temple. Jak and Daxter are talking about how they're going to get across and get to where the precursor monks have already been. What's probably most interesting about the scene from a behind-the-scenes standpoint is that the camera, the way we do the camera here, is just one camera that moves by a single frame to insinuate the cut that you would see in a movie. But what made it a little more difficult was that I had to have a separate camera for the ground shots and a separate camera that was actually affixed to the glider that they're going to get into in a second, and that just added a little bit more to the difficulty of the scene.
So this is another scene that was animated by Greg Griffith. This is after you've gone through the volcano and gotten to this deep part of it and discovered this monk that's been mummified by the Dark Eco. Again, sort of just kind of reiterating the idea that Dark Eco is so dangerous and that Jak is playing with fire when he's been exposed to it, and so is Daxter. The animations, like these animations again, require so many different pieces being put together. The models that are being built, the high-res models, the sets, everything that has to go into this process of creating these 6 seconds a day that we do. Actually, it's just an incredible number of people that work behind the scenes to make this happen. That background you can see there, of course, was built as part of the volcano. And some of the sets are even more high-res than that. They're actually not even level sets. They're actually really detailed high-res sets. This is Daxter continuing to refer to his beloved missing pants that he lost since Jak and Daxter, the first adventure. A recurring joke we've had for a long time. And hopefully we'll pay that off in the end. Just to give you an idea of the process, this scene is about 30 seconds long, which took an animator about a week to complete, a week of a lot of long hours. They try to do about 6 seconds a day. When the scene is actually written and then recorded, and we try to cut this using a sound tool to cut down the sound file as tight as possible. We kind of consider the editing process in the front as important as in the back. Again, it's almost like writing, where you think you've cut the scene as tight as you possibly can, and you come back a couple minutes later and it's still not tight enough.
Isn't it time for you ankle biter?
This scene right here was a lot of fun to do. It just gave me a chance to use Jack and Daxter together and have them be kind of like a buddy-buddy type thing, where Daxter's actually picking on Jack. So you get to see how good friends they really are.
Hi, this is another arena scene that I did that has Pecker and Daxter going at it again. A lot of fun. I really enjoyed all the scenes with Pecker. What's interesting about Pecker here is that in some of the scenes, even though you can't see his feet, he's really just floating in midair. I had to sort of slide him around to stage the camera the way I wanted. So hopefully that's invisible to you guys, but it was something that had to be done. That's it.
This is a cool scene right here. This is actually my first time animating a female in the game, and up until then I've been animating mostly guys, and so it was really tough to try and nail her down. And she's really sassy. She has a lot of attitude, so I just try to put as much of that in there as possible. But she also has like a really soft side, so I try to show that as well. And for the scene, it was a really, I guess, a tender, touching moment of some sort. So I try to, play the balance very lightly between being aggressive and being very subtle. So I think it came out pretty good. So the Marauders have come over the hill, and I'm thinking 70s car chase movies all the way.
Okay, so I got a little bit of grief over that little bend into the Hellcat so she can get Jack's hoverboard out. But the way I figured it, if she had to get something out of the Hellcat, she'd have to bend over to get it. There's nothing implied. There was a lot of touching, it seems, back and forth between them. She keeps grabbing his shoulder or his hand. That kind of stuff looks real nice, but really hard to do. So this scene probably took a little bit more time than it should have, but I thought it kind of pays off with getting to see a little softness. So we've just entered the intro to the mine boss fight, and this scene was the longest scene I had worked on at the time. I think I clocked in close to a little over a minute, and it was really cool to get to work with a scene that had more exposition, where they get to find out more about the story. It's the first time we've seen Viger since the intro, and even though we kind of get the idea that he's not a good guy in the intro movie, we get to hear a little bit more about just his evil plans, so I got to have more fun with his character. And I think we got really good reading from the actor, so that made this scene a lot more fun to animate. One of the hard parts to set up for the staging was this giant room has a pedestal that Jack is on and he's trapped on, and then there's a big giant space in between him and Viger. So staging the camera from back and forth, if you ever needed to see both people in the same shot, there was really a real long distance in between. So I had to do what I could to trick the camera, or also just use really long lenses. So you kind of get to use certain film effects or film techniques to try to compress space. And here's Daxter going off on his little fantasy of being surrounded by women, which does not go well with Viger. I know we tried to use this joke a couple times about him getting his name wrong, so I thought that was kind of fun to work with. I think it happens again later on in the game. And here we go.